Experience tranquility.
And welcome to Week 11 Recap. Iris Podcast is here. I am Ski Free Yeti, and I am joined by a couple of main tanks and Thug. To my left, we have Thug. Yeah, I know, right? Right above me, we have Dad, NPC, the man. And to my left, we have... I don't want to say child. Child is not fair. I'll say son. I'll say son.
All right.
That's fair. From Solo Cup. What's up, everybody? Good to see you today. Week 11, we are getting down to the playoff chase, guys, and we had a lot of exciting matchups this week. We want to spare no time in getting to those, and we are going to fire it right up here with the Aimbots and Havoc. Thug, you had that match recap. Can you take that one and let us know how it went?
Yeah, this was a 4-0, and I feel like this was a big statement match for Havoc, or statement match for Havoc. People been sleeping on him, and almost as much as Nerdable slept through the last podcast. They're pretty much the same thing. But Havoc came out all guns blazing. Aimbots has a ton of talent, and they have a ton of ability. It's just a coordination thing at this point. It's they get a little sloppy with their ult usage. They get a little staggery. Everyone's trying to throw the team on their back all at one time. And I said it last time about them is they're just a little bit scuffed. Almost like this podcast is scuffed. We're good. Sometimes it's just better than other times. And the map against Havoc it wasn't one of their better times. So
yeah, Havoc took a pretty convincing 4-0 there, guys. Yep. Looking real strong as they get towards the playoffs. They've had some missteps along the way, no question, but they're getting better and better, it seems, as we go on here. We're going to go ahead and head over to a match that was a really hotly anticipated match, but it didn't end up being as close, I think, as a lot of people expected. Light Rose, you had Harmony and Chaos and Gravity.
So obviously everyone talks about it, but it was a lot closer than the score would say. So Harmony, with the troubles that Harmony had, they would have had some troubles taking out supports, so that when Gravity would run Mercy, Ike was able to pull off the reses a lot. And the thing with the supports is they kept Gravity in the match. NPC, no offense, there were a lot of times where you massively fed, and there were so many times where Ike, Mimsy, Bubbers they just saved your ass.
They do that a lot.
Now the Harmony DPS actually did a really good job of making it even, so Velzen and Orson didn't just stomp all over Harmony. But the end of Nepal Village is the biggest Pepe hands that I have ever seen in this league, and might be all season. If you haven't seen it, you'll see it coming later.
Oh gosh.
And for Harmony, I think what kept them from keeping the game closer was the ability to win the winnable fights. And near the end of the maps, there were so many times where they just needed to push it a little bit more to cap it to the end. Like Blizzard World was a great example. There were two fights that they should have won, and they didn't win either. And that's really what made Gravity just kind of roll over on them and get the 4-0.
I think hurting them a lot was having Maxix gone. And not to take away anything from Gravity, because Gravity's proven they're one of the top teams in the community. But how much do you think missing Maxix was really impacting Harmony and Chaos?
Obviously, a Sombra is big, because your supports are in the back, and having that invisible person going around and just shooting them, hacking your tanks, it's scary. So not having a big Sombra player there can definitely kind of change your mentality and how you approach it.
Definitely a great point. And I think Gravity right now is establishing themselves as really one of the top forces in the community moving forward, if not the top force. Yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
Otaku looks strong too. We'll get to them later. But Gravity right now looks real scary, guys. Something to be mindful of if you're facing them moving forward. But NPC, speaking of Gravity, you had another match between two playoff contenders, Meta Rejects and Illusion.
So that game was great. I didn't get to see a VOD from the Illusion side of things, but I watched at least 3 of them from the Meta Reject side to kind of get a little bit more in depth. So I have a lot of insight into the Meta Rejects, and their biggest key to victory here was their communication. They had a really great main tank. His name is Yeti something, and he was doing some great shot calling and play calling. The Kingdom has switched over to off tank, and he's peeling for their supports. He's keeping them alive back there. The whole team as a whole was doing a great job of ultimate tracking and ultimate economy, like making sure that they always have 2 ultimates in the bank, but not overspending on every single team fight to win. The biggest surprises for me from Meta Rejects were Abe on the Hanzo and Alela on the Sombra. She was an off tank, and now she's gone to Sombra. And once again, I feel like Sombra's somehow got an indirect buff because all of a sudden she's everywhere and people are playing her now. So it's really powerful. The Rejects, they switched every time to counter what Illusion put forth. But they also switched one that really stood out was on the second point of Route 66. They opened those double doors, they captured that point, and when they went to the indoor section, they said, okay, we're all switching away from dive and we're going to a Rein Zarya combo to play on the ground. They threw away ultimates, they got rid of everything, they just reset because they knew that was going to be the fit for the indoor section of the map. And that is something that every team struggles with. They think, well, this is working, we're going to keep playing it, and they waste a bunch of time. And by getting rid of their ultimates and just switching, that was the key right there. Is they had great communication. Everybody was on the same page. They knew exactly what to do.
Yeah, it was interesting. Kingdom made a great call on that, I have to say, kicking me off that monkey, even though I had the monkey. The right choice in hindsight. So, Meta Rejects with the big 4-0 there, taking a big win over Illusion for playoff positioning. We are going to move now to a match that was viewed by a lot of people, and you have to ask yourself the question, where were you when the Fighting Potatoes got their first win this season? Because I was watching Mousie's stream. I don't know where the rest of you guys were, but Fighting Potatoes...
on the left side.
Yeah. Fighting Potatoes take their first win of the season. It was a lot of fun for the viewers to watch here. Finally, every team has... little bit of that victory taste, minus victory over the Renegades, which doesn't really mean anything. Let's be real here, guys. But I actually do have a little bit of a clip here. If you guys can just hold on for a moment, I'm going to pull a clip from the match here. One moment. So yeah, as you can see there, the match went about as expected. It was pretty solid all around for the Potatoes. Honestly, I'm a huge fan of the Fighting Potatoes. I'm wearing the shirt today, repping my old squad, good friends of mine, and they showed up in an awesome way. Massive kudos to Cracker Boy, recent addition to that team.
Potato Boy.
Yeah, Potato Boy, yeah. He brought in an excellent bit of off-tank play to that team. His Zarya was absolutely outstanding, and not only that, he brought a really nice level-headed shot calling to that team. And I think that was a key thing for them to kind of get organized and really beat a team that was jockeying very heavily for playoff positioning and really needed that win. Liquid Nova brought Triage 3 popped off on the sniper on more than one occasion, and definitely had Fighting Potatoes up on the ropes. But again, the Fighting Potatoes win, and I want to give another shout out as well. A shout out to first my boy Dimtree, but really it is for Mousy. Mousy on that Junkrat gets a buff, and all of a sudden, look, Mousy's popping off. If you look on almost every map, Mousy on that Junkrat was popping off in a pretty massive way. And then Captain Wessels also playing that DPS came up big, especially on the Pharah and the Mei on Lijiang Tower. Really good job from that whole team. They take it down 3-2. Congrats to the Taters. He took one finally, and I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud. But we will move on now to Meteors and Alt F4. Yeah.
This was spicy. This was a spicy one.
This was.
Great.
Yeah.
This is a great
It was
game.
close.
It was a really close, really great game. Ended up 2-1-1. Apparently, both teams really, really suck at Horizon. I have 3 letters, 1 province for everybody. HQC. My God. That man literally had like a 12-second ult charge as Monkey on first attack. It was one of those things where it's like, how is he ulting already? What the fuck is happening right now? It was a lot of really back and forth, a lot of really clutch plays by both teams, and a lot of mistakes by both teams, to be honest. A lot of double ult usage, a lot of double support ult usage. If you watch back VODs from my position, Kitty Baka's position, that last fight on Route 66 for the extra time, Gil eats a grav. You'll see it later. Eats a grav. HQC shatter into a 4-man bomb with about 30 seconds left. Recontest comes back and Alt F4 takes it, but it's one of those maps that I'm screaming, muted, trying to tell everybody what to do. They're not listening to me. It was massive. I think there's a lot of really good individual efforts. Mix Ready on Alt F4, probably the least talked about support in the league. He is fan-fucking-tastic. He's a giant meme for life, but the dude pops off. The dude is a great Lucio player. He's absolutely insane to watch. He doesn't stream very much. I should get him to stream more because the dude's puts on a clinic as Lucio. And also Kitty Baka. She's very under the radar with her play. Playing against her, I wouldn't say I noticed her as much as being somebody that was good or bad, but I watched her stream back as an off-tank player and a Zarya player. Her bubble usage is incredible. She does a really good job. She paces her bubbles. She knows how to follow HQC, keeps up them really well, and diva play as well. Following HQC around as Monkey to keep up with him as a diva player and get a lot of can't even think of the word, value. A lot of the value out of it. She does a fantastic job. Enables him a lot to do his job really well. So hats off to Meteors. It's going to be a hell of a slugfight towards the end of the season, and looking forward to seeing more.
We'll be talking a little bit about that slug fight as we get closer to the end of the cast here. We got a lot of playoff talk today, guys. And next on the list here, we have Omnic Turtles and we have Wrecking Crew. Light Rose, you're going to take this one.
So essentially, I think that Wrecking Crew they won this match based on their DPS. There were so many fights where, you had both supports, one tank, and one tank was like excruciatingly low. And the DPS just brought it back from the depths of hell, take the points, stop the payload. So you got massive props to Ooh and Darklink for really keeping them in the game. Blue is also doing his part. He had some good bubbles and such. That being said, a lot of these things that I just mentioned only happened at the fault of the Omnic Turtles. There's no hate towards them. I personally would be an Omnic Turtles fan if I wasn't on a team. But this game, they just had trouble finishing up fights. They had trouble shutting down the DPS, who, like I said, really just had free reign. And it was really just a stomping by Wrecking Crew. That being said, Omnic Turtles are looking to switch things up for the end of the season, so we'll see if they can have a comeback at the end. Not this week, of course, next week.
All right, so the last match of the week was our feature match. It was a rematch of the preseason tournament finals. And we have two teams kind of in both really interesting spots right now. Otaku and Sugar Rush, NPC. What do you have to say?
So I watched this match and it was amazing. Now it was a 4-0, but I mean, on Horizon, both teams kept both points. Blizzard World, both teams went the distance. Route 66, Sugar Rush almost completed the map. It was very, very long for a 4-0. Ultimately, I think Otaku ended up winning because they coordinated their dives and their team fights. Their focus fire was on point. They would find somebody, even when they had like a Reinhardt Zarya, they would still essentially dive. They would go in after one person out of position, pick them off. It's a 5v6, get one more, and then at 4v6, it's just a free-for-all. They do what they want. Yojak was definitely winning the Reinhardt battle. A lot of that battle is a psychological battle. You have to decide, when is he going to fire strike? When is he going to shield? When is he going to come in? And Yojak just had them by the numbers every single play. Sugar Rush could have won, I think, if they had comboed a little bit more ultimates. It seemed like they were holding back sometimes. They would have an ultimate and just not use it. And I felt like sometimes they would combo 2 ultimates when they should have done 3 or maybe even 4 just to finish that team fight and capture a point. they also kind of kept switching. It felt like they either didn't switch fast enough or they switched too early. It was like they would fight 2-3 team fights and get, halfway to an ult and then switch instead of switching either right away or finishing it out with their ultimate, seeing what they can do and then switching. So I felt like they didn't get a lot of value there. They kept trying to counter whatever Otaku had. I think both of these teams could have won this match easy. Sugar Rush just didn't show up. I feel like Sugar Rush is one of those hit and miss teams. Sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens the rest of the season.
Sugar Rush started the season off 5-2. They are now 5-6, dropping 4 straight. And a couple of 4-0s in a row too. They are going through some tough times right now. We will see if they can rebound. But right now we are going to spend a little bit of time looking at our power rankings for Week 11. We're going to see a lot of
these yet.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of shuffling.
Ooh.
Yeah, I didn't show you guys these.
No.
Oh, debut for everyone here.
Yeah.
Power rankings for Week 11 here. We see a lot of movement. Obviously, Harmony and Chaos falls, and we see them actually drop all the way down to 4th. And we do see Gravity now taking the top spot. Otaku taking number 2. Solo Cup in at number 3. Harmony and Chaos number 4. Meta Rejects are at number 5. Havoc number 6. Illusion at 7. Alt F4 at 8. Sugar Rush at 9. And Meteors at 10. Kind of an interesting little pile between 7th and 11th for the record. Oh,
Bye, Thug.
Thug is dead. All right, now that we've established that. Like I said, it was basically a cluster between 7th and 11th. That was pretty much a tie, but not quite a tie. So, are you all right there, Thug? You want to talk about it? All right, welcome
Did
back.
you see a ghost?
So we are in a situation now where we get, like I said, we basically have a tie between 7th and 11th. That's kind of how the standings are too here, guys. We'll spend some time talking about that today. But right now we are looking at these rankings here. NPC, what do you have to say about what you're seeing here?
To be honest, this is almost exactly my playoff prediction right here. This is almost exactly where I see it going down. I see the seedings exactly the way I predicted them. I'm not sure that's exactly the way I submitted them, but when I look at that list, that's exactly the way I think it should be.
Yeah, I could see that. Light Rose, what do you think?
I mean, I think that's the first week that people aren't sleeping on Solo Cup, but keep sleeping. That's the thing that we've had all season.
Do I need to
like,
dab on you again?
Oh,
hey, haven't lost yet. And just putting up with the third is really. I think we deserve to be there with the way that we've been playing recently, and I think I have to agree with NPC. A lot of these is really how the dice will fall unless something happens. Sugar Rush just kind of can't find their footing again, or Wrecking Crew just starts a comeback here. That's really my thoughts on that.
And now, Thug, what do you have to say on that?
I kind of echo a lot of what these guys say. This is pretty close to what I have for the final playoff rankings. Who's in, who's out. So I don't know. It's seeing Harmony dropping that far is a little strange to me. I still they're still a fantastic team. Everyone's allowed a bad night or two. Are they slightly overrated? Maybe.
Have to say.
I'd like to offer something. They still have a ton of teams to go through that are in the top 5. So they have compared with Wrecking Crew, they still have one of the hardest schedules to go through.
No,
so,
that's what I look at too, and I look
Mhm.
at main tank plays got to improve. That's probably for me the part that's holding them back the most. Not that they're bad main tank players, but if they can step up a little bit, work on a little synergy, they're gonna fly.
You mentioned strength of schedule, and that's something I was going to talk about briefly. Spooderman actually linked again. Thank you to Spooderman for your continued contributions to the community. But linked the remaining average map differential for the teams. Wrecking Crew has the hardest schedule remaining, followed by Harmony and Chaos, then Meta Rejects. So we have tough schedules coming up here for those 3 teams. Again, Harmony and Chaos being one of those teams that maybe hasn't necessarily faced the tip top of the community, and yet they still have wins against some really good teams. Let's not just sit there and say that they haven't played anybody yet. We can't reasonably say that. They 4-0'd Meta Rejects. They 4-0, or they they managed to take down. I'm blanking on this all of a sudden. But they've taken down several really strong teams, and they've handled the bad team, or not. I don't want to say bad teams. Bad teams isn't the right word. They've handled the lesser teams in a swift way. Like, they've made it easy for it. So, do I look at Harmony Chaos and see them as somebody who is a record is deceiving? Not necessarily. I think they're a really good team, but I don't know if necessarily they're that same level of gravity in Otaku, and I think this schedule might, I don't want to say expose them, but I think it's going to bring them down the standings. But that being said, guys, I was talking again about the massive, like the big cluster basically between 7th and 11th, and that kind of brings us to what we're going to be talking about here soon, is like, in the standings right now, we basically have a tie between 8th and 11th place, or a borderline tie. Every team is within one match of each other, and every team in that pile is competing. We have 4 teams for 3 spots for the playoffs. So it could be different. 12th and 13th are still in it. 6th and 7th, in theory, could fall out. So it's not over necessarily, but those teams are all competing for that same spot. And maybe, we look at the standings right here, and we might see, maybe Wrecking Crew's feeling a little bit slighted. They have the toughest schedule coming up here, guys. No shot against Wrecking Crew whatsoever, but they've had 4 match wins in a row, and they've been convincing match wins. But one of those is against the Renegades. One of those against the Omnic Turtles. One of those against Sugar Rush, who is massively struggling right now. I look at where Wrecking Crew is, and I think they are a much better team than they were at the beginning of the season. And I think they are being a little disrespected by this poll. I do rank them right now, actually, personally, in 8th. I think they're above above Meteors and Sugar Rush in the current state of affairs. But obviously, that's how the power rankings go. That's why we have multiple people voting on it, not just my opinion. So, we'll see how Wrecking Crew handles this thing going forward here. They have a tough schedule ahead. But I certainly would never count out any team in this community. If the Fighting Potatoes can win a match, anybody can, right? All right, moving on, guys. We are going to go to one quick announcement, actually, before we get into the playoff. The team, we're going to do a little playoff diagnostics for you here. Is an announcement regarding next week's podcast. Next week's podcast is going to have a different feel to it. What we're going to be doing instead of a podcast is we're going to do a moderated town hall. There's going to be a town hall to discuss Season 3. Season 3, this is going to be featuring myself, more than likely Thug. Cavalier will be here. The invitation is going to be open, obviously, for Zuby and Gil, being fellow admins as well, to be here for that. There's going to be an opportunity for you guys to find out information about Season 3. We are going to be foregoing all the recaps. We are going to be foregoing plays of the week. We're going to be foregoing all of that because we want to spend some time talking about Season 3 so we can begin amping up for the future of this community. The community is continuing to grow in a massive way. Again, that would not be possible without the amazing contributions of every single one of you. First and foremost, you guys are the lifeblood of this community. It keeps everything going. And we want to continue as admins to give you guys everything we can to make this the environment that you want it. So we will have a town hall next week on Monday night, 8:30 Eastern time. We will have more information out to you guys as soon as we can. So be sure to tune in for that. Should be a lot of fun, very informational, great opportunity for you guys to ask tons of questions about the future of Tranquility. So on that note, we will be going into the team diagnostics. So playoffs, guys. Playoffs are coming here. We got 4 weeks left in the season. They're coming on fast, guys, real fast. And we want to talk about what teams are going to make it, what teams are not. Now, we look at the top 5 in the standings. We have Harmony and Chaos, we have Otaku, we have Gravity, we have Solo Cup, and we have Havoc. 5. They all have 8 wins. They're probably in. It's safe to say that. That's right. Solo Cup is making the playoffs. I know. I'm saying it. By the way, since I dabbed, they haven't lost. You're welcome.
I think I've mentioned that a couple times.
You're welcome. But I want to talk about the teams beneath that. Basically 6th to about 13th. Now, for Omnic Turtles and Fighting Potatoes, technically you guys aren't out of it yet mathematically, but it won't be a real tough road for you. You all need perfect things to fall in place perfectly. I'm going to be real with you. I don't like the chances, guys. I want you to, especially by Potatoes. God, I want you to win every match, but I just don't know if it's going to happen. So That being said, we're not including Omni Turtles and Fighting Potatoes in that. But 6th through 13th, we're going to spend some time talking about you guys. So we are going to start it off talking about my team, the Meta Rejects. And NPC, you were going to spend some time talking about what's going on with that.
Okay, so I'm good friends with many of the Meta Rejects, and I kind of get some behind the scenes, some information on that. Working together is making them stronger. I've seen them go through a lot of changes, and every time I'm on this podcast, I'm talking about how the Meta Rejects have just made changes and they've got potential. This week, we got to see them manifest that potential. They're playing together, but here's the thing: to clinch the playoffs, to actually go all the way, they have to win 3 out of their next 4 matches, and 2 of these teams are going to be a lot tougher than the other 2. So if they can win the first 3, basically the game against Meteors is going to be garbage time. They'd be 11-6, and it wouldn't matter at that point. So what they really need to do is focus up on Solo Cup and Otaku. I mean, don't sleep on the Wrecking Crew too much. You still have to prepare. You still have to be ready, because if you go in thinking it's an easy 4-0, you may get rolled. So you have to win 3 out of the 4. So Solo Cup and Otaku are going to be your 2 contenders.
All right, so looking at where the Meta Rejects are at, then looking at their future schedule and looking at that team is coming together right now, how are you feeling their playoff chances are? Do you think they will make that cutoff, the 10th place cutoff, to get into the playoff?
Absolutely. I think they will. I think they will, because they're definitely going to win. I don't want to say definitely, but there's a good chance they're going to win 2 out of those 4 games. And just the 3 out of 4 guarantees them a victory. But the 2 out of 4 still puts them in a good chance as long as the other teams don't shuffle things around too much. But as long as they can get those down, they should be in.
So now we're going to go to Light Rose. Light Rose, what do you think? Meta Rejects, are they in or are they out?
Well, I got my notes here. It's a couple pages. Is the best of times. It was no, that's not it. Call me ish. No, that's not it either. 4 score. Okay, yeah, no, I'm just gonna forget that. Okay, so Wrecking Crew. The positives that they've got is their communication and their synergy they are there, not need to be there. They are there. And their DPS do a great job of securing kills. Bleh. I mentioned that earlier. But the thing.
Take a drink.
I got
ASMRing this thing. Take an ASMR drink for Cracker Boy.
All right.
Nice. That was good.
I feel
the
relaxed
negatives
now. I feel relaxed.
So the negatives that they is while they have good communication, the execution is really not there. It needs to definitely step up a notch. And the supports and tanks seem to be split a lot. And while a good team could really exploit that. And obviously they've got, with the upcoming weeks, they've got one of the hardest schedules. And a lot of those teams could exploit that, could, beat them up, as Ski Free is clearly showing off. And it's not looking great for Wrecking Crew.
We were talking about Meta Rejects, but again, I want to bring you back there, big brain. Whether or not you think Meta Rejects are going to make the playoffs here.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Meta Rejects, are they making the playoffs?
Are we talking about Meta Rejects?
Yes, we are.
He jumped ahead.
It's fine. You jumped ahead.
You jumped ahead. It's okay. Let's take another drink of water. Let's come back.
Let's bring it down.
I think I gotta go.
Right,
was the worst of times.
My brain's
right
a little
there,
bit out of
that
sync
right
right
there
now.
You're a little excited. You're all like,
I'm like, who? My turn, oh boy. Okay. I am so sorry. Meta Rejects making the playoffs. No doubt.
Well,
Meta Rejects making the playoffs from Thug as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And I'm on the team for Meta Rejects. We're going to go to the playoffs. Really, no doubt in my head. I would wager my left testicle that we're going to.
Oh,
bold, right? But
Everyone, please clip that. So
somebody's gonna collect.
No baits.
Balls. Give me the balls.
Anyways, so we are gonna go ahead now to a team that's right now currently in 7th place. That's a team actually I was fortunate enough to play with last week, and I've actually played twice this season. They're a fun team to play against and a really skilled team, and that's Illusion. And again, I have nothing but good things to say about this team. They started off a little on the weaker end. They started off 1-3, and they won 6 straight. They clipped off 6 straight. They took advantage of what, in my opinion, was a slightly weaker schedule to that point. Now, they have a tougher schedule coming up here, at least, especially for the next 2 in Harmony and Chaos and Gravity. That's going to be tough for them to take. I look at Illusion. I see a lot of really good things happening with that team. I do think that they're going to get 2 wins in their upcoming schedule, though. I think that Aimbots match is going to be one that they can take down, and I do think that they will, depending on what's at stake. I think that Wrecking Crew match is also winnable, but again, it depends on what's at stake. If Wrecking Crew's in a situation where it's a must-win to get in the playoffs, don't ever count out Wrecking Crew. That's a mistake, guys. But when I'm looking at Illusion here, the team has grown fantastically this season. Really big early pickups here in both Black Ninja and Jewish Missile have been really impactful players. That team, Jewish Missile is low-key a very, very good tank, and has flashed brilliantly with his aggression, especially on his Reinhardt. Really does a great job. Black Ninja is an excellent sniper as well. That whole team has a lot of very strong individually skilled players, and don't sleep on their support line either, especially I think Memorex. Really good player. I do think they have some weaknesses. Sometimes it seems like they're just not necessarily executing as strongly as they could. Their DPS are very capable of popping off at any specific time, and Black 96 and Jewish Missile are both skilled enough tanks to do the exact same themselves. But that being said, sometimes they almost seem to have to rely on that pop off in order to get to the situation where they are going to win each fight. It doesn't seem like they have the ideal chemistry to win the whole thing in this community yet. They're very capable of that. They have really good individual players, so don't say they can't do it. But that being said, when I'm looking at this team, I see for sure 2 wins in their future at least, and I think they do get into the playoffs on that, on the backs of those 2 wins. I think they're solidly right now. NPC, what do you think about Illusion's playoff chance?
I think they're good. I agree with you. I think that those 2 wins are really all they need, unless there's some major shakeups with all the other teams. I think they'll end up making it.
Light Rose, we're talking about Illusion. What do you think, buddy?
Okay, on the subject of Wrecking Crew. Okay, for Illusion, I think they're gonna make playoff. They might. I think even if they lose a match, they're still gonna get in, maybe 8, 9, 10. But I think they're gonna get in pretty easily.
And last but not least, certainly, is Thuggington. What do you think about Illusion's playoff chances?
100% yes. I mean, they're one of my finals picks, so I'm not gonna sleep.
You better
on that,
hope.
bro.
Still rocking that finals pick. I like it. I like how bold.
I'm not wrong till I'm wrong. We established that last podcast.
That's true. You're not wrong till you're wrong. I'll give you that much. All right. So now we're going to talk about a team that we haven't talked much about recently, and that's Wrecking Crew.
Really?
And we're done.
So,
All
Light
right,
Rose,
cut back
you
up.
kind of gave us a little bit of a summary before.
Yes, someone just edit that into this
So
right
everybody
now.
clip
Right?
that.
Best
Bring
of
it
times,
back.
worst of times.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wrecking Crew,
here we go.
communication, that stuff. Okay.
Yeah, communication. We're good. All right.
Yeah, we got all that up before. So my consensus is that they're not making playoffs. They're not making
the
playoffs. They are not making. They're gonna lose every map. And if
Every map
somehow
or every match?
every match,
Okay.
with
All
a
right.
TCH.
Okay.
I'm not that mean. And by some miracle, if they get in, it's gonna be a beatdown 4-0, losing in the first round.
Ow.
Wow.
A very bold statement. NPC, that he's throwing some shade here. What do you have to say about that?
Okay, Wrecking Crew, they were my 11th pick. I don't see them making it, but I feel like they have a better chance than some of the other teams. I feel like their schedule is very tough. It really is.
Yeah.
But in Platinum and in Overwatch in general, teamwork is way more important than individual skill. And if Wrecking Crew can come together and just get some teamwork, they can take these teams. Except for Gravity, of course. They can take all the others.
Thug, what do you think about Wrecking Crew's chances?
Based on schedule alone, my gosh, that's a minefield, dude. It's an absolute minefield. I don't see it. Yeah, I don't. I can see one win out of this, and it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, I see one win out of these next four. This is a meat grinder, dude, and this isn't a slight on anybody on Wrecking Crew, um, except PC Scrub. If the kid can take out the freaking trash, be ungrounded, show
Yeah.
up, and this is 100%. Dude, you're the captain of that team. You gotta show up for these dudes, and you gotta be there. Backseat leadership doesn't work, man. You got to be there and you got to sacrifice for your team. So, but Tyler's got to take the damn trash out.
I mean, here's my thing. Here's my thing with Wrecking Crew. It's, they're such an interesting team because they've gone over so much turnover. I look at the beginning of the season. They pretty much were reliant on one person to kind of carry that team. Pettiness. And Pettiness isn't there. But since then, they've become a lot more of a complete team.
Correct.
And I think that's something that's really important to talk about with these guys. Is they're doing a lot of things now that are much. They're doing a lot of things much better as a team. Now, I will say that I don't think. I look at the 4 matches they have coming up. I don't think any of those are they're going to be the favorites in. I really don't. Like, they're playing against 4 of the top 7 teams in the community here. Can they beat them? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, they are more than capable of doing that. And any one of these teams, they could easily have an off night and drop to Wrecking Crew. They're a very capable team. But I can't predict them to win any of these matches. It's not a slight on Wrecking Crew.
Right.
It's just an impossibly tough schedule. They have the hardest schedule of any team left by a decent margin. And it's going to be rough for them. Do I think they can do it? Absolutely. Do I think they are? I think they need at least 1 to have a chance. 2 to guarantee it. I don't see it. I really don't, guys. And it's not a slight on Wrecking Crew. I think they are a good team, and I think they're going to give us a hell of a performance when we play them this coming week. But they have to win at least 1, if not 2 of these matches. I just don't see it, guys. I really don't. So I'm going to say no for Wrecking Crew as well. But anyways, moving on here. Now we have Sugar Rush. Story of Sugar Rush. 5-2 at the beginning of the season, now falling to 5-6. Thug, let's have a chat about
so much. I didn't want it. Didn't want it.
It has chosen you.
This one was it's a rough one. This feels like a different Sugar Rush team. Yeah, looking at this schedule going forward, they have winnable matches. This next match against Meteors is an absolute 100% must win. My thought is whoever wins between Meteors and Sugar Rush, that person's going to the playoffs. The other team is not. You're digging yourself with a proverbial hole. It's rough, man. There's so much individual talent and there's so much synergy between supports, synergy between the DPS, synergy between the tanks, but we're lacking the overall synergy. And to me, that's what's hurting this team a little bit and hurting their chances going forward. And it super pains me to say it because I would say Sugar Rush is probably my second favorite team besides Alt F4, just because of the relationships I've built with a lot of the players on it and just how I get along with them. So it really sucks. But there's so much individual talent. I mean, Guac won the Anna paintball contest. Cognitive Pit is an insane widow. Absolutely insane. Dude pops off constantly. There's so much talent there, and it sucks to see them kind of wallowing. And I know the feeling, man. Trust me. Alt F4, beginning of the season, we were there. We were at that. Everyone's going, what the hell's going on with those guys? What's happening, man? Now's the chance to really take a look at yourself and take a look at your team structure and figure out what's working and what you guys can do differently. Throw out the first 4 weeks, throw out the first 8 weeks, and figure out what's going to work you guys going forward. But unfortunately, prediction-wise, I don't see Sugar Rush making the playoffs. This is my outlier of the group. This is my outlier. I feel like Meteors is revived, and I'm kind of maybe stealing somebody's thunder. They dropped something that my opinion was holding them back, and they're going to come back revitalized, ready to rock. So yeah,
So-
I don't see it making
Something.
it.
Fair.
Drop something.
Fair.
So going around the horn then on the playoffs, I think Sugar Rush squeaks in. I think they get in, but barely. That's just my feeling on that one. I'm going to be real about Sugar Rush here. I love that team, and I love the people on it. But y'all need to take a minute and pull your collective head out of your collective butts. Because you guys just aren't playing together. You really aren't. And it's just, I know how good you guys are capable of being. Because we've seen that all season. You're one of the teams that took down Gravity. And
Shit.
and you not only took them down, you convincingly took them down in those final 3 maps. And it wasn't just we barely won it. You beat them. You beat them good. And now I look at what you're doing, and I just go, guys, you gotta just pull your heads out of your butts, because you're not connecting with your strats, kind of playing on your own. Your ults aren't combining. Sugar Rush, I love you guys. I think you're gonna squeak into the playoffs, but it's gonna be a quick exit if you don't figure out your stuff here. That's just my 2 cents on Sugar Rush, guys. NPC, what do you think?
I kind of agree with Thug here that it's basically going to be Sugar Rush or Meteors. Whoever wins that game is going to win out and make it to the playoffs. I think Sugar Rush will make it. I think Sugar Rush will make it. But it's going to be very close. I don't even want to predict how close it's going to be.
It's so hard.
It's gonna be crazy. I can't wait.
This is Sugar Rush is the start of the meat grinders. Like the next like 3 or 4. It's nuts, dude.
I can't wait to see what like this podcast is gonna be like 2 weeks from now, when there's 2 weeks left of the season. It's gonna be just insane.
Sweating.
I'm super sweaty already.
I know. I'm always sweaty, and it's just even
Me
worse now.
Fair.
Light Rose, what do you think?
Well, I have to agree with Thuggington. The Meteors, who wins that match will make the playoffs. But I do see Sugar Rush squeaking into the playoffs. I just think if they get their stuff together like in the game, they're better than the teams that would be below them to make 10th, possibly 9th. So barely, just barely making that.
Speaking of just barely in right now, we're gonna go to another team. We're going to the Meteors. NPC, let's have a talk about the Meteors. What do you have to say?
Nice shirt.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Nice shirt.
I'm wearing my Meteors shirt. I'm repping the Meteors right now. Okay. All right. So I'm going to tell everybody a story about the Meteors. For those of you that don't know, they were infected by a parasite. It's more like the Venom symbiote. It's this parasite that gives them great power, but the cost is that it has to consume living things. And when the Meteors were devouring their enemies, it was fine, and they had all this power, but if they skipped a single meal, the symbiote suit would start to eat its own host. Okay? And they both know it wasn't good for them, but they just couldn't change the nature of the symbiote. So recently, Meteors have been freed from this symbiote. And it's going to take them a while to figure out how to win games without that awesome power and find the power within themselves. But I think they can do it. They just need a little time to rebuild. But unfortunately, they don't have that kind of time. They play Sugar Rush in like 48 hours. Maybe 72 hours. And
That is hard.
yeah, it's going to be really, really tough. But we talked before about how like the meta rejects, basically, if they don't win all 3 games, it's going to come down to that Meteors game to determine whether the meta rejects get in. But if the meta rejects can pull off all 3 victories, their Meteors game is going to be garbage time. And no matter how hard they say, we're going to play hard, we're going to do our best, deep down in the back of their minds, they know it's garbage time, and they're not going to show up. And if the meta rejects are in garbage time and the Meteors are fighting for their life, the Meteors are going to win out. And they're going to squeak into the playoffs. But they have to beat Sugar Rush first because they've got the bye week after that, which gives them a free 4-0. which not many other teams have right now. And they're going to get those wins, and they can beat the Omnic Turtles. I believe they can, especially with that bye week to prepare.
Yep.
So all they have to do is, if Meta Rejects can get to that garbage time, and then the Meteors can beat Sugar Rush, the Meteors can squeak in at the very, very end. I believe you can do it. I've got the shirt to prove it, and I'm not going to rip it. This one's staying on.
Who is that jersey, by the way? I meant to ask.
This is the red gear. This
Oh,
is
the red gear?
This
This
is
is the red
red
gear?
red gear.
Nice,
blue cog.
nice.
The
Fear the
blue
gear.
Nice.
I love
Fear
it.
the gear.
I love
Nice.
Blue Cog Torg Maiden.
it.
Blue cock torb, man.
Light Rose, what do you have to say about the Meteor's chances?
Honestly, when a team reforms, it can be the scariest thing. Like Solo Cup, after our loss to the Meteors, we changed a lot. And we came back with a fire. And that's exactly what the Meteors are doing, right? You get the smack. That's exactly what the Meteors are doing. And I think they're going to come out of the gate. They're going to beat up Sugar Rush, and they're going to get in. I think they might win all 4 matches. It could be a close one against Meta Rejects, but like NPC said, if it's garbage time, especially if it's garbage time,
You're gonna get banned, bro. Careful, Yetis.
I will end you. No.
It's hot takes. Then I think the Meteors are going to get possibly with a good spot.
Thug, Meteors. They're a direct competitor with you. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the magic number's 8. 8 wins is almost it gets you in the playoffs. The team with the shortest distance to 8 wins is Meteors because they already have one. And I agree 100% with NPC is that garbage time for other teams is going to be this is a must win, an absolute must win, and they're going to be going hard. So you look at that, and that's why I see Meteors win. I see Meteors beating Sugar Rush. I'll agree with Light Rose as well, as when you get a late season reform, either it's going to be a huge revitalization for the team, or it's going to be our heart and soul just fell out of it. And while Fossil may be a meme for a lot of the community, a lot of the Meteors family loved the dude. We only saw the toxicity out of him. We saw when he was pissed off because it was public. It was big. When he got pissed, man. We all get pissed. Most of ours is behind closed doors. Fossil just his energy and his anger just went outward. So I know Meteors love him. I know they miss him. They probably don't miss the volatility of it, but I feel it's going to be a win-1 for Fossil type thing.
I think Meteors are solidly in. I don't see them not being in. I think they will comfortably win 2 of the final 4, and I think the third is going to be maybe a little bit tougher. It's going to be they're going to have to win one of either the Sugar Rush or the Meta Rejects match. I think they're more than capable of winning that Sugar Rush matchup. The Meta Rejects match, they ain't winning. Come on. But it's... I think the Meteors are in. I really do. I think they have an easier schedule, and I think that's going to help them.
Yep.
So I think the Meteors are in, and I will say that I know you talked about Fossil. I agree with everything you had to say, but I will definitely say that they are a better team in this community without Fossil on their team.
Fair. That's fair.
Fossil's a great player, but as a team, they are better off without him right now. Let Dally pop off. Let him do his thing.
Let Dally.
Yeah, I know, fucking Dally, right? But I mean, that whole team has so many skilled players. I think without Fossil, I think they are guaranteed at least 2 wins, probably 3. So, Meteors, I think they're in. The next team is a team that's currently in 11th. They are on the outside looking in right now, and that's Alt F4. Alt F4 is an interesting story as well, guys. They started off this season very, very poorly. They started off 2-5.
Yes.
Then you have to keep in mind, Alt F4 was basically the reformed Dracaris. So it's an interesting story when you look at what this team was and what this team is now. Dracaris had a few different players on their team. First off, one of their DPS was Shady Soul. Everybody gets your Fs out in the chat for that. Yeah. And then their main tank used to be Cryptic Force. Now, Cryptic Force is gone.
Mighty Bear.
Sorry, Mighty Bear. Pardon me.
Cryptic Force is gone.
Yeah, Cryptic Force is gone. Cryptic Force is dead. Cryptic was I want to say, when you thought of Dracaris, you thought of Cryptic. Alt F4 has kind of taken a rebranded image, and I think that the picture of what that team is now resting on the backs of, in my opinion, the best midseason pickup outside of myself in the entire community is Silent Monkey. Silent Monkey is playing
100%.
absolutely out of his mind as a main tank. He coordinates beautifully with that team. However, what's winning the matches for Alt F4 right now is their entire team synergy. They're getting that old Dracarys vibe back a little bit right now. I see O-Stories popping off frequently on that Sombra right now. That O-Story Sombra was a very big part of why they were managing to take down Otaku a couple weeks back. He's still doing it. Still scary, guys, and Sombra is very relevant right now in the current meta. Combine that with what we're seeing from Mix Ready. You talked about him earlier. I'm not going to let that be the only time we talk about Mix Ready. Everybody knows Timojo. Let's talk about Mix Ready a little bit, guys. Mix Ready very easily could be one of the best off supports in all of the community. Nobody talks about him for some reason. Don't know why. His Lucio is insane. Just insane. And nobody talks about him. Why? I don't know. Open your eyes, Tranquility community. Mix Ready is legit. And big part of why that team's coming up. In getting to that point where they could sneak into the playoffs after starting so poorly. So Alt F4 is kind of an interesting tale. I think they have 3 wins in their future. I really do. I think they will take down this week. I think they're going to take down Liquid Nova. I think they do take down Fighting Potatoes, and I do think they take down Aimbots. I think that's their path to victory. They have to win those 3 matches. If they do not, they will not get in. They have to win those 3. If they don't, their map differential is too unfavorable for them. They do not have any room for error. They have to get to 8 wins. 7 just isn't going to cut it. They have to get 8. They have a Havoc game in the middle of all of this, and Havoc is going to be a really tough match for them just in general because Havoc is really starting to mesh. I don't think it's an unwinnable situation for Alt F4. I really don't, because Havoc has shown that tendency to sometimes play down to the level of their competition. Not that I'm saying you're a significantly worse team or anything, but let's face it, Havoc at times isn't the Havoc we know usually in certain situations. Make it too close. So for me, when I see Alt F4, I see them making the playoffs. I see them as a potential upset pick when we get to the playoffs as well, because of how good that team is playing right now. If they win 3 of their last 4 matches, they will finish the season 6-2 in their last 8. That's a spooky team, guys. Going into the playoffs with that much momentum, no matter what the caliber of teams you beat are, that's scary, guys. That's a very different situation than somebody like Sugar Rush is going through right now. Positive momentum on the side of Alt F4, guys. They're a scary team. I think they're in the playoffs. I think they might even make a run as the underdog in the playoffs. So NPC, what do you have to say about them?
I have them making the playoffs. I have them on my list. They're going to be in. For all the reasons you just stated. They're clicking together. Silent Monkey. I'm not going to say he's carrying the team on his back, but he's carrying the team on his back. And so, I mean, they're a really strong team. We played against them back when they had Cryptic Force, and I'm so glad that we did, because they're a totally different team right now.
Hey, Rose, what do you have to say?
Well, I think they'll easily get the win against Renegades, Potatoes, and Liquid Nova. But I think they Aimbots. I think that they can beat Havoc. If Silent Monkey can outplay Dunzo, which is definitely possible, I'm just no hate on Dunzo. Like Silent Monkey's he's good, man. Then I think Alt F4 can beat him up pretty good, and I have them making the playoffs.
Bug, it's your team, man, but I want to see how you're feeling.
I'm really taking this as a 1 match at a time thing. I don't want to look too far ahead. It'd be easy to look ahead to Havoc. It'd be easy to look ahead to other matches, but Liquid Nova is the team right in front of us, and Liquid Nova is the match we have to win. Dropping this match at this time is not going to be ideal, but I'll echo a lot of what you guys said. The Silent Monkey is a really, really great player and a good dude. And I think that's a lot of what I look at when we add people to the team and people that mesh well with us. Team synergy and actually liking other people is super important. or else you're just gonna be pissed off the whole time, and you don't want to play with them. And it's like, yeah, this sucks. And when things go poorly or tend to go poorly, those are the situations that you point fingers and you say it's you're the problem. You missed your ult. You were out of position. You did poorly. If you watch a lot of the matches and you watch from my stream, sub to Thug, you will see Silent has the utmost trust in his support line, and it's very, very evident. Main tanks that trust their support line play much more confidently and not recklessly. He does that, and I think he does a really good job. Also, the greatest Brig main of all time is not Orsted, it's Godspeed. I'm saying it now.
1v1.
Fighting words.
1v1 for the most boring 1v1 of all
Wow.
time.
All right, that's a nutty. We'll have to plan that one. I'm gonna just replace the letters in this one with Orsted is the worst or Godspeed is the best Brig main. I'll leave it at that. So, yeah, that's a spicy take. Wow.
It's very spicy.
Wow, best Brig main Godspeed OP from Alta
Just
4.
saying, guys.
We got a couple more teams. They are on the outside looking in, certainly. Their paths are tougher, but they are not necessarily out of it, guys. One of the teams we always talk about never overlooking is the aimbots. So let's spend some time talking about the aimbots here. That would be going to Light Rose. What do you have to say about them?
So the aimbots, we kind of have all come to one idea, and that they have some stellar players that can definitely pop off. White Knight, Savage, Asian Lives Matter, they can all pull their weight, definitely.
Yep.
And their supports can, keep them together. But the thing is, putting it all together, being a team, and that's what it's all about. And as a team, they can get tilted relatively easy. Communication and wanting to help each other at times, it isn't there, and supports are out of position, which can lead to a snowball taking them out. All just starts to crumble. And then, so overall, they're good individual players. They just don't mesh as a team. And this late into the season, it's going to be kind of hard to get that quickly and get into the playoffs.
When I look at aimbots, I don't see them making the playoffs. I actually don't even see them winning another match. Sorry. It's just, I think they'll lose to every match. That team, again, they're so good individually, but for some reason, when they get into a situation where they need to win a team fight, they choke. There's no other way to put it. They just choke. Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. They're losing very winnable games. And it's like, I know how good a lot of these players are. Kowalski's amazing. Asian Lives Matter is amazing. Pineapples, just Savage. Like, these guys are awesome players. It blows my mind that they haven't had a more successful season. It really does. It makes no sense to me. No sense to me. Like, but I just don't see it, guys. I just don't see that team coming together. I don't see them winning another match. I don't think they're going to make it. So, NPC, what do you think?
I see him maybe winning one, maybe two, but I don't see him making the playoffs. It's too late in the season, and they got a lot of road to go. Like you said, they're all great players. I have a lot of respect for Savage. It's a great tank. I love watching his videos and watching him play, but they need to get together. They can't, and if they can't do it fast, they're not going to do it.
Shout out to Orca. I see him in chat. Bug, what do you think?
I mean, ditto. Ditto's about all I really can say. There's so much individual talent, but I'm going to echo back to the leadership soapbox I was standing on before. They're on their third captain of the season, and that's tough, dude. And for what I'm seeing, too, is he's having a lot more scheduling issues as well, so he's not being as available to the team as he was in the past. But again, there's a ton of really, really, really good talent there, and yet you hit the nail on the head. They're choking, and I wish there was an easier way to put it, but they're choking. I definitely don't see the playoffs for this team.
And last but not least, certainly is Liquid Nova. Now, Liquid Nova's been an interesting spot. Let's have Thug. Let's give them a little diagnostic here.
The Nova
of
Liquid. I feel like we're repeating ourselves a lot towards the end. These last few teams that we're not feeling are going to make it is a ton of individual talent, an absolute ton of individual talent, but just everyone seems to try to ranked hard carry. And this isn't ranked, this is team play, and you can tell better team players, better teams that play as teams as opposed to teams with the best individual players. I'm looking at this. Yeah, they get that free Teal Cowboys 4-0 in there, but they have to win 4 maps and hope other teams lose. And that's not a good position to be in. You don't control your own destiny, and that's really, really hard. Their match against us this coming week, if ours was a must win, theirs is a, oh my God, please, for the love of God, we have to win this one. There's so much individual talent on that team, and looking up and down the lineup, you see people like Player, who's a phenomenal main tank. Play main tank. Kurt pops off. Crossfade's a fantastic support player. There's so many people. Triage is absolutely nutty. Also, go follow Triage. He's looking to get that affiliate, boys.
Get him. Get him.
That kid is fantastic. He's one of the best flex supports or flex DPS in the league. Up and down that lineup, there's just a ton of talent, and they're falling into the same thing that a lot of these teams that are just gonna miss, in our opinions. They're just not synced together. There's just not a lot of synergy. They don't win a lot of the team fights that they should. They go into team fights with multiple ults and nothing. One support ult they just unload all their ults, and that's about it. So yeah, this is a tough one. Yeah, these are times where you really got to band together as a team, figure it out next week, not this week. Figure it out next week against Sugar Rush.
Yeah, I think I think Thug hit the nail on the head. I'm gonna be real with you. Liquid Nova had a very winnable match last week. No offense to my Fighting Potatoes. Losing that match just killed their chances. It has. It just has. Like it's that was the death knell right there for Liquid Nova, in my opinion. And we talk about it all the time. They have so many good players who could very easily, like they carry ranked games. Like they're capable of doing that. We've talked about player playing main tank is amazing. He's playing support for them. I know that Player says they have a lot of really good main tank players, and I see that. But Player, you're the best main tank on that team. Play main tank. It's not a shot on Crispy, who's also a very good main tank.
Right,
but
dude.
Player's insane. Let him. He needs to play main tank on that team. To me, that just boggles my mind. It was a poor decision, and I'm gonna criticize it, maybe a little too hotly, but that's a huge mistake. And I look at mistakes like that, and I just say to myself, God, this is an example of choking. But they're not choking during fights. They're choking in their decision making.
But isn't that on Player? He's the captain.
I'm not necessarily saying that, but I think Players made some mistakes. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. I think maybe there could have been a better decisions made that may have led them to a better record at this point. Good players. I don't see them getting in. NPC, what do you think?
Okay, I'm from Dallas. We've got the Cowboys. We got the Fuel. I'm an expert on choking. Okay, so I know it when I see it, and I see them doing it. Just their talent is there. They're just not pulling it out. And I agree exactly with what you said. I see their talent, but they're just not closing kills. They're not closing team fights the way they should.
Last but not least, Light Rose, what do you think?
It's too late to do anything about it. Your schedule, it's okay, but it's like it's too late to really make any major reforms. I mean, you got Meteors, but with Liquid Nova, they're not looking to make any changes. It's just, I think it's too late. They're not making playoffs.
All right, so that's the end of our playoff diagnostics, guys. We kind of had to go all around. Hopefully, some of the teams that are on the outside looking in, maybe this will be a little bit of bulletin board material for you guys moving forward here. You know, we don't mind being put on the bulletin board. I'm used to it. Ever since I dabbed on Solo Cup, they haven't lost a match. So
they got a little salty about it.
They
too.
sure did.
Oh no, we definitely
They sure did. My PMs have a lot to say about that.
Yeti!
Yeah.
Hey, we won against Havoc, so like.
No, you did.
Fire.
And I
The
literally
fire.
was being shouted at during your stream
No, I know.
after you beat them, for the record. So
We were aware of that.
yeah, you're well.
Speaking of being salty at Yeti, okay, I have a special message for Yeti before we get to the predictions. Can I get a close up, Yeti?
You got it.
Okay, all right. Yeti, you predicted against Gravity so many times. Okay, you predicted it against us several weeks ago, and we won against the Meta Rejects, and we won, and Harmony and Chaos, and we won, and it's like magic. Okay, it's like magic, and because of that magic, I want to show you a magic trick. I'm going to do some magic here on the stream. See, got nothing in my hands, absolutely nothing, no sleeves, nothing like that. And I've got a Dallas Fuel towel, burn blue. It's perfectly ordinary Fuel towel. Okay, nothing in my hand, as you can see. I just cover it up, say the magic words, abracadabra. There you go. That's what happened. Okay?
That was the greatest option out of all that.
Okay.
Oh my god. Ski
Alright.
Free is left. Ski Free Yeti is left.
Yeti is gone.
He's gone. Oh.
But don't bet against us again. Okay?
Oh.
Oh, that was
Got
good.
him.
He's gone.
Well, oh, there he is. I found him.
He's back. Oh,
Tasting.
desktop flash. Here it is.
Oh, here's the desktop flash.
Oh, okay.
You guys are assholes.
Don't
It's just me. It's just
guys
me.
this.
I'm banned, but I'll take it.
The fuck?
Yeti.
I'm fixing it. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Okay.
All right. Moving on.
Flashes. Desktop.
Desktop
Moving
flashes.
on.
Moving
Hey,
on.
hey.
We're gonna go to the top 5 plays here, guys.
Top 5 plays of the week. Nice.
Top 5 plays of the week. We're gonna start off with a guy who I had some respect for, but now maybe don't. Light Rose, or I'm sorry, NPC, just sauntering his way up to the point against Harmony and Chaos, and just
Oh no.
just makes them look stupid. I'm sorry. And then we have Gil coming up here big on the Diva. This is unfortunately you can't really see it because of the overlay, but actually yes, we do see him eating a grab, then launching up his ult. HQC gets the shatter, and then boom with the big 4K Diva bomb. Absolutely massive play for Gil, almost locking up that map. Huge play. We go to O Stories from Alt F4. O Stories is showing up in a big way right now with that Sombra play. And right here we see the big EMP taking that majority of that team and hacking them, taking out 3 on his own. And by the way, O Stories, I noticed you this time. Don't worry, buddy. I got you. Now we have Peter's 6G, 4G LTE playing that Torbjorn. Let's go, dude. He really popped off thanks to Twitch Prime on that Torbjorn. I know. Rip to Fran. But great play from them. Then we have Mousy from the Fighting Potatoes, a person we hadn't seen yet on the top 5. Coming in here, it's a 6v1. Normally you'd say back out, but not Mousy. Mousy takes out 3 with that tire, takes out the Winston, and then follows it up by taking out the Diva, takes out 5 on her own, and manages to hold that point. Absolutely massive 6v1 play for Mousy. And last but not least is Yojack, a very common presence on this top 5, and we see him coming in with a massive shatter, follows it up with a charge, taking out the enemy Ryan, really setting up an entire team kill on Blizzard World, and actually locking up that map there, or locking up that point, and led to that 4-0 for Otaku. So big plays all around, guys. Lots of fun to see all of that, but we got to pick one, guys. I'm gonna start with you, Thug. What do you have to say?
Pass. Gone. Pick next.
Wow. All right, Light Rose, what do you have to say?
I love the fact that NPC, nothing else, just walks up, hey, how's it going, guys? Brings down the hammer. They're all looking like straight at him. Like takes back the map, wins it for him. I'm gonna have to vote NPC.
All right, NPC, 1 vote for you. What do you have to say?
Well, I want to vote for myself. I really do, and I also kind of want to vote for Yojack because I love seeing the big shatters like that. Because that one was nutty. He built it in 40 seconds and just wiped out the team. But I feel like their team was going to win either way, and my team was going to win either way. That play wasn't detrimental, but I'm going to give it to Mousy. Mousy's play, not just that play, but a lot of her play for that entire game was just the key to that victory, and I got to give it to Mousy.
Thug, I want to go to you again. You're not getting out of this.
Come on, make a decision.
I know. See, I my heart says Gillimed, mainly because it absolutely was devastating for our team. Let me give you a quick reenactment of our comms during that. I could hear him. It was, no, oh fuck, no, 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 no.
Slowly depressed.
No, I'm switching to ball. I'm getting to point. That was it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to pick Mousy. Straight 100% individual effort. That was big dick energy. Big dick energy.
Big dick energy,
And
indeed.
my favorite part, if you watch that back, the smile on Mousy's face after it's done. That was her like pinnacle Junkrat moment.
I have peaked.
She has peaked.
But for real, that was like, hey guys, did you see that? Did you see what I did? Somebody clipped that. That was awesome.
The comms were great. I actually listened to them afterwards, and it was just like you could hear Captain Wessels, who was playing support that map, and he was just screaming, "I'm coming, Mousy!" And she was being being taken down by the last one, and it was just Mousy just going, "No, no, no!" And then she was so disappointed afterwards. She's like, "No, I didn't get the last one," and it was just like, you just took them on 6v1, and you beat 5 of them. And only 3 of them with the ult, mind you. So, I mean, there's a lot of good plays this week, guys. And, I mean, potato bias aside, it was a legit 6v1 that Mousy kept a point, and it's Mousy. So, congrats, Mousy. Play of the week this week with that massive Junkrat play on Route 66. You will be receiving those event skins once the next event rolls around here.
Archives.
Archives.
I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
know,
excited.
Right? I'm excited too. So congrats to you, Mousy. Real quick before we get into predictions, we're running a little long here, guys. I want to try to move things as quickly as we can. Guys, it is meetup time. The meetup is here. The meetup is this weekend. I know the Minneapolis crew is pumped as hell for this meetup.
Chicago crew.
It's going to be insane.
Chicago.
I know Kansas City is getting something going here too, guys. A couple I think there's at least one in California, right? Los Angeles, LA
yeah.
crew is getting together. I know we got at least one more somewhere. I'm trying to remember where, but I'm having trouble right now. Guys, meetups are going to be lit. When you have these meetups, please take pictures, send them in if you feel like you want to. Wear your Tranquility gear. It's going to be a lot of fun putting some faces to names. Makes the community even better and closer. Gotta love it. I'm looking forward like crazy to drinking beer with Thug and Stark and Mix. So that is going to be a party, and I am excited to do that. So meetup, guys. It's this weekend. Have fun.
Yeah.
Have a blast. And gonna be so much fun. So looking forward to it, everybody. I want to go ahead now and get to predictions. It's our last segment. We're gonna breeze through this quickly, guys. We're gonna start with Gravity versus Aimbots. The graphic says it all, guys. It's the number 1 team versus the team who I think is probably struggling the most right now. And everybody's picking a 4-0. We'll just go. Light Rose, do you have anything to say about this one?
Easy GG.
Easy GG. Thug, anything? Anything you want to add to that?
GG, go next.
I'm not going to slight Aimbots that hard, but Gravity's just too good right now, guys, and Aimbots have a lot of work to do. So I think it's going to be a pretty easy 4-0 for Gravity. Unfortunately for Aimbots, they could surprise us. Again, great individual players, you never know, but Gravity's not losing this one, in my opinion. Havoc versus the Fighting Potatoes here. We see 3 4-0s, and then me not giving up on my taters, guys. Get off my back. I see a 3-1 coming for the taters, and it's not because of Mousy, it's not because of Bird, it's not because of Sneaky Kittens, it's not because of any of them. It's because that Cracker Boy is going to be hungry. Is going to be hungry to show up those Havoc boys who took him out of that team, and I think Cracker Boy is going to be the one to lead that team to that 3-1 victory. It's going to be insane. I can't wait till to see the general chat when everybody types in with those crabs. Everybody's going to be typing in, Ski Free was right. Ski Free was right. Don't you forget it.
No, it's still going to be Ski Free.
Ski Free was the
Yeti
problem.
was
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeti was the problem. Yeah, I know.
The more they win, the more that's going to be spammed.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, if they keep winning, Yeti was the problem.
Yeah.
All right, Liquid Nova Alta 4 is our next match here, and again, it's a straight sweep from the panel here, although not entirely a complete 4-0 across the board. NPC, what do you have to say about this one?
I feel like Alta 4 are really strong. They're working together. They're doing great. They made good switches like at the very end of that last map. I feel like Liquid Nova, just the talent on Liquid Nova has a chance. That's why I gave them a 3-1. But I still feel like Alta 4 is going to end up, just a better team.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily better players, but the better team.
All right, let's move on here now to next match is Meta Rejects versus Wrecking Crew. Taking a look here, we see again a clean sweep from the panel. Thug, what do you have to say about this one?
My prediction's wrong. It was supposed to be 4-0 Wrecking Crew.
Oh, I'll kill you.
No, I'm just kidding. I see it right now, man. This is Meta Rejects. You guys are rolling right now. You guys are feeling really spicy. I feel there's a lot of support for that tank duo right now, and you and Kingdom are working really, really well together on really what's a short amount of time to build a lot of synergy. So good on you guys. It's going to be a 4-0.
Right, and now moving on here to Meteors, versus Sugar Rush. This one was his first split one here. We had a lot of what is perceived to be one-sided matches so far in the predictions. But here we have a split 2-2. We see, really, again, we talked about this match being crucial for the playoffs. And again, when I see it, I personally see a Sugar Rush win. But again, it could go either way, guys. And this match is probably going to just be a big factor in who makes the playoffs. Now, Thug, you went Meteors here. I'm sorry, blah, 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 bring it back. Thug, you went Meteors here.
I did.
You did. What do you say about this one here, buddy?
It's kind of echoing back to Meteors loved Fossil, dude. This is gonna be for you kids don't understand the win-win for the Gipper thing. This is a win-win for Fossil, and Fossil's been freed. Meteors have been freed, and this is gonna be a band together moment for them, and it's be their playoff push. So I'm feeling Meteors 3-1.
Because of the, sorry, Light Rose, go ahead.
I want to say, like, they're going through tryouts right now. And the pickups have been huge this season. Like, you could come out in Sugar Rush for Meteors and be like, where the fuck did they come from? Where do they come from? They're one person that he was not on the roster last week. They're on the roster this week, and they're coming after you.
Yep.
Absolutely. No disagreement here. NPC, this is a close match. I want to hear from everybody. What are you thinking?
So I went 3-2 Sugar Rush because I want the Meteors to win. I think I feel like they can do it, but I feel like the departure from Fossil, by Fossil, and even if they pick up somebody new, there just isn't enough time to build the synergy that they need. And Sugar Rush hasn't been performing well, but I think they're going to turn that into energy that they can use.
Okay.
So
they got to shake the monkey.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of them. The Meteors have the potential to win this, and that's why I put 3-2, because it really could go either way.
Sure.
All right, next match I want to cover here is Omnic Turtles and Solo Cup. Now, we again have a clean sweep across the board. Omnic Turtles obviously suffering from the loss of Gab, trying to get better here. But here's my thing with Solo Cup. Like, I know how good they are. I really do.
Choose your words carefully.
I know how good they can be. But what bothers me about Solo Cup is, they've been on a streak lately. There's no question. They haven't lost since I dabbed on them. But God, it just seems like sometimes they try to meme too hard in their matches. And sometimes it's almost like they aren't. It's almost like they're overachieving their skill level. And I see what Solo Cup's doing, and I think they're just ripe for the upset. Especially when it comes to playoff time. I don't think they're going to lose this one, but I think Solo Cup is just ripe to be beaten here pretty early on in the playoffs, if not the remainder of the season.
Look at Light Rose's
So,
face.
I'm not showing it right now. I'm on the graphics still.
Yeah,
So. Yeah. Now I'm seeing Light Rose's face.
Sleep. On the
That was for chat,
sofa.
by the way, because they wanted to refill in the dab bucket. Really, I don't see Solo Cup having any of those problems. But that was just for you guys who was asking for some help there. Solo Cup's gonna win this one. I think 3-1 because I do think Omniturals have some good players in the team, and I think Solo Cup. No offense, you guys do get a little memey at times, and I think you will choke on a map because of it, but you're gonna win this. Thug, do you have anything to say about this one?
Nothing additional. I think it's going to be same reasons. Solo Cup, I don't even say it's memes. Y'all get a little cocky. And y'all, it's like, we don't have to try very hard. We'll be fine. This is all. It's like, oh, God, what's happening here? And I feel like that was very similar to the Alt F4 Solo Cup match. And if y'all get caught off guard, it's one Zuby DDoS on those stories with the mails to change.
Grapples him. Hit the button.
So, but it's yeah. You just guys got to play tight, play focused. You got it.
All right. Our last match of this week, guys, is our feature match. It's actually tomorrow. Ooh. A little early feature match here, guys. Harmony and Chaos is taking on Illusion. Two teams near the top of the standings, but both teams kind of needing a win to maybe stabilize a little bit. Illusion dropped last week 4-0. That was a pretty painful loss. I know Nixall called it a bit of a reality check for his team. And Harmony obviously getting on the 4-0 end of gravity. One of these teams going to kind of be jockeying themselves and saying, we are that good of a team. The other team, maybe we're talking about them a little too highly. But looking at our predictions here, we're split. 3-2s across the board. Everybody thinks this is going to a map 5 here. Ski, myself, I think it's going to be Harmony. But God, I had to flip a coin, if I'm being real with you. I really did. Like, it's just...
Look at this.
Yeah,
I know.
Wow.
The graphics says it all, guys. This is going to be... This has all the potential to be an insanely tight match. If both teams show up like I think they can, it's going to be 50-50. It's going to be 99-99 on the final point. It's going to be insane. I'm excited to watch this match for that reason.
It's both teams coming off hard losses.
Yeah, it's just...
Yeah.
They're coming out hungry and pissed.
For me, the battle is going to be between which tank line for Harmony and Chaos shows up. If Steve Buscemi plays as good as he's capable of playing, and if Handyfap plays as good as he's capable of playing, I think they win. Then again, if we see the performance like they did last week, where they got tilted and just rumpled, they ain't going to do it. In fact, they might just get slaughtered if they do that. Tank line's got to keep their heads, and if they do, I see them winning this. And I'm going to go around the horn here. NPC.
I agree. I think the tank line. I know Steve can play better than he did. I know that he can play a lot better than that, and I'm not sure what was going on with him personally, but he just I saw a different player. Maybe his little brother was playing or something, but I just saw a different player last week. So I picked Harmony because I believe that he can do it. I know he can, and I think Harmony's going to end up winning out. But I agree, it's going to be 99-99 on the final control map.
Light Rose, what do you have to say?
I just think that Jewish Missile could outplay Steve Buscemi and the DPS if they manage to control the Sombra within a reasonable level. That the DPS will be able to take advantage of that and just kind of get the picks where they need to, which could take the fights, and if they're going to win the fights, and eventually they're going to take it. What, like I said, NPC could be a 99-99, but I just think that Illusion takes it at the end.
Sorry about that, folks. I had a little technical problem there. Thug, what do you think?
This sucked. I agree a lot with NPC. Steve-O's got to keep his head on straight. He got hard tilted by NPC last match, and that tilt lost a couple matches for him. So I see Jewish Missile doing the same thing. It's kind of an exposure on a lot of those players, and that's the hardest part about streaming. You have a lot of transparency between teams. Is you find out who the players you can tilt, and some of the best game plan is to get people off of their mental game. If people aren't in it mentally, they're not going to be performing at a big level. They're going to get, like we talked before, they're going to get pissed at each other. They're going to start pointing fingers. They're going to try to overcompensate to get that person out. I could see a lot of that with NPC, and Steve was getting so pissed. NPC was the only person he saw, and he was just gunning for him. So if he can keep his head on straight, it's probably going to swing in the other way. But again, this is that 99-99 map 5 big play. We will see a map 5 99-99 play the game in the top 5 next 2 weeks from now, because we're not having one next week because of the town hall.
Yeah, I'll still be collecting plays from next week. We'll do a double top 5. So be aware that I'll still be collecting plays, guys. But anyways, that's our predictions, guys. It's a spicy week ahead, and it's a spicy few weeks ahead for the community as a whole. Playoff tension is here, everyone. Make sure you're getting hydrated. There you go, buddy.
Boy.
Guys, that's going to be all for us here. For everybody here, Thug, Light Rose, NPC, and everybody in the Tranquility community, we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Experience tranquility.